Welcome to the show with no name. Now I gotta wait 7 seconds. For Friday, June the 7th, 2013, I'm Bob Going with Jim Nikosha. Gavin's not here for the third time in his career. Not sure where he is.
I haven't heard anything.
I thought he said he was coming, but I could be confused. Anyway, did I say I'm Bob Going and he's Jim Nikosha? There we are.
You said that once.
Well, the people have spoken.
Yes, they have.
Rather
resoundingly.
Rather resoundingly, that's correct. The Common Council and the mayor conspired to do away with the elected office of city controller. You recall that Mr. Wierzbicki passed away, who held the position for about a year and a half. And at that point, it was the duty of the Common Council to replace him. And instead of replacing him, they created the new position of deputy controller, appointed a person to that position for a huge amount of money, and then put up a local law to get rid of the controller, tried to sneak it through at what I've called the stealth referendum, where you could only vote at City Hall, and there was, it was an odd time, the first Tuesday in June or whatever. The reason being, I think, for that date is because that's about the time the petition period starts. So if you're going to run for the office, it's good to know whether there is an office to run for. Yeah. So I don't know what the next step is.
They've got a deputy controller.
Yeah.
Normally, when
who was not appointed by the controller.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But normally, when there's a vacancy, the next in line steps up to take that position.
Well, I think the person in line doesn't fill the qualifications.
Well,
I believe the person's not a resident of the city of Amsterdam, which is
okay.
makes him ineligible for the position.
Well,
I could be wrong about
legally.
that.
Legally.
Oh, legally. Oh, legally. Yeah, okay. Well, I'm a lawyer. I'm always thinking of things like that.
But in Amsterdam, it doesn't matter what's legal and what's illegal.
I know. It doesn't matter whether there is a position or create a position, who appoints the position. This is what happens when there's chaos at the top. And the top is everybody.
Now, Mr. Wierzbicki died in December.
Yeah, December, January, I forget.
Well,
it seems like it was quite a while ago.
Yeah.
We went to the funeral.
So this is June.
Mm-hmm.
So that's 6 months.
At least. Yeah.
According to the charter, they've got, the mayor has 30 days or 90 days to appoint someone to the position.
Actually, it's not the mayor's position. It's the Common Council, a sole authority to appoint.
Even in a predicament like this?
Yeah, the Common Council has to appoint. It's not the mayor. It's not the mayor's position. It's just as though if one of the aldermen died, or if one of the city supervisors, died,
okay.
then only the Common Council makes the appointment. Of course, everybody, the mayor made an appointment anyway, which they rejected or didn't vote on. I forget, because it's not her position to. I suppose she figured she could introduce the resolution, but I don't even think that was proper. But I'm sure she had somebody told her.
Yeah, that isn't proper.
No, not for that.
The mayor, even during a regular meeting, the mayor doesn't.
Well, the mayor can introduce resolutions in the Common Council. However, there are certain matters which are the sole prerogative of the Common Council, one of which is appointing the deputy mayor.
Yes,
okay?
yes.
It's sole prerogative of the Common Council. The mayor can't introduce a resolution to say, I propose so-and-so, nor the issue of the city clerk. The mayor's got no say in that whatsoever.
Or the ADA board.
Or the ADA board. Those are sole appointments of the Common Council, as is the vacant controller position, as it would be if the mayor's position was vacant.
But
of course, that would be irrelevant under those circumstances. Anyway, so I understand that after the resolution went down, or the local law went down the other day, that the mayor again urged the Common Council to make an appointment, and recommended a specific person.
Oh, she did?
Yeah.
Oh,
I don't know.
I didn't hear that.
I don't think it was public.
Oh, okay. Well, so you're behind the scenes.
It's just inside information. Anyway, I hear there are a couple of people interested in the position. I understand. This is just stuff I hear, folks. This is not. I haven't talked to any of the principals involved here. I understand that Matt Agresta is interested again, and he ended up being the Republican nominee after he beat the incumbent in the primary last time, Heather Reneke. And he came very close to winning. Actually, he came in a very close second. It was down to both of Ron Wiersbicky's races that year ended up depending on the absentee ballots. Both in the primary and then the general election.
I don't remember how close they were, but
yeah, it was close. It was close.
So other than Matt Agresta, who's the other person you?
I'm probably not going to say who the other person's name is because I frankly found it hard to believe when I heard it, and I'm thinking maybe my source got the story wrong. But it's a Democrat, and. Yeah, I understand the mayor wanted Agresta's name put up as a kind of a, I suppose in her mind, a bipartisan gesture. But of course, he used to be her assistant at City Hall,
so that's not bipartisan.
Yeah, so she had a couple ponies in the race last time.
So
anyway, but it seems she was under the mistaken impression that if the appointment was made, it would last till December of 2015. Here's an exchange that took place on Facebook yesterday. Rich Iwanski, right? Ann, meaning the mayor, I'm confused. Why would anyone accept an appointment only to run an election campaign in 5 months? Good point. You know, if you're working somewhere else and you give up your job to take the appointment now, the election's in 5 months, blah, blah, blah. Anyway. Ann Thane. The appointment will be for the balance of the controller's term, which ends in December 2015. Robert Neal Going. An appointment now would only be until the November election results are certified. The special election in November will fill the vacancy left by the death of Controller Wiersbicki until the end of his term, December 31st, 2015. All right? So I'm disagreeing with her legal analysis. Rich Iwanski. Is the mayor misinformed? Question mark. Ann Thane. Ann M. Thane. Bob Going is right. My apologies. This has been all balled up for so long I lost track of the process. The election is in November. Rich Iwanski. Thanks, Ann. I've been wondering about that. Ann Thane. Quick, write this down. I said Bob Going is right. LOL. Rich Iwanski, history in the making, LOL. Rich Iwanski, now Bob has to reciprocate. Ann M. Thane, that would be history. Robert Neal Going, Ann Thane is right. She was wrong. It's nice we could do that. So on the what was the final vote? It was like 420 to 220 or something like that after they counted the absentee ballots?
Yeah. It was 70% or something. I forget the percentage.
Well, it was just about 2 to 1. It was a little less than 2 to 1, but it's probably 60%.
How many voters are there? How many eligible voters?
Oh boy, I think there's like 11 or 12,000 or something like that.
And they got 500 and
about 650 people voted. But it really was pretty much a secret thing. I mean, you didn't see the issue debated day after day.
No.
There was only a handful of people discussing it, and we were 2 of them.
Yes, and the newspaper. The newspaper had very little on it.
Well, there's the issue. I mean, it is or it isn't. But there were obviously it was not exciting the electorate. I think there was one letter to the editor on the subject, if I recall, Sandy Rodzinski.
Yeah. Yes. Well, you know, I was puttering around in the backyard yesterday, the day before yesterday, and Elaine made me paint the bird cage.
What?
I have a bird cage in the backyard. And she made me paint it. I said, but I don't have any newspapers.
We'll have to get you a subscription for a month. What do you do with an outdoor bird cage?
Well, it's an indoor bird cage, but we don't have a bird, so
you keep it outdoors.
So we keep it outside, so we have to change the paper every so often anyway. Just
the bird cage liner. Oh God. Anyway, so I don't know what the next step is. The candidates are starting to line up for these different positions here. It looks like, I could be surprised, but it looks to me as though the field is complete for the county executive position. That would just
Dominic
be Dominic Stagliano will be the Democratic candidate, and Matt Ossenfort will be the Republican candidate. That appears to be it, and unless I come out of the woodwork or something. Oh yeah, I know. That's just what your mistress said. Yes.
I
hear footsteps. It's Gavin Murdoch. He is here after all. All right. Okay.
I get tired. It's gonna be late, but
couldn't get up to.
You all right?
no answer.
Everything okay?
I've been at the computer store with a bad computer, so.
Oh dear.
I got it fixed last week.
All right. So, folks, we're just going to take a slight adjustment here as we move Gavin over into the picture. Okay. Here we go. All right. Good. And that is Gavin Murdoch. No,
hey.
This is how I write stuff on the screen.
Very good.
Okay. All right. So Gavin, we're just talking about the vote this week. Do you have any thoughts yourself on the subject?
Not even close. Not even close.
Did you throw your name in the ring for the controller's job?
Geez, no. I know my limitations. I definitely have to be on my.
Yeah, but most people don't at City Hall. So what's the difference?
Well, that's an important job. And if we don't know how much money we got, we're in that rock group, dire straits, and we don't want to be there.
I know how much I've got.
Ain't hard for me to figure either.
I think I got it in my pocket.
Yeah.
Oh.
But no, I didn't think that it was going to pass. I was surprised by how much it passed, but I was also surprised how few votes there were. Every time we have a low turnout for that or for the elections or the school board, it's troublesome.
It's
that people do not take advantage of the opportunity to decide. Even if you're on the side that loses,
right.
At least you were in there putting in your 2 cents to make the dollar. And nobody showed up. But,
well, her vaunted political machine only turned out 216 votes total or something like that, I guess.
She didn't have very many.
No.
But I think it does show that people are not going to allow themselves to be dictated to, and not being able to have as much say as possible we can in the goings on at City Hall. But I did think there was some maneuvering when the ballot was crafted to have 2 different items in there that you're voting on, and I think
with one vote.
With one vote, and I think there was hope that people more concerned about the second part and vote yes anyhow if they don't like the first part. Yeah. But
and I think it backfired for just that reason.
I think that's part of the reason why it went down is because there was 2.
I don't think they ever thought for a second it wasn't going to pass. Yeah.
No.
So since it didn't pass, when are we going to appoint a controller to fill the slot that's been vacant for?
Well, we were just talking about that. Apparently, the mayor has approached the Common Council to try to make an appointment. And I just read a colloquy between me, Rich Iwanski, and Ann Thane on the subject, which is kind of funny. You'll have to watch the show.
I will.
Or you can read it, as the case may be. In any event, as Rich Jawanski pointed out, if the appointment is made now, the person is only serving until November.
Correct.
When the election is held, and as soon as the election results are certified, the person who wins the election takes office immediately, not the following January, as in most cases. So, unless you're unemployed, basically unemployed,
or you get a leave of absence.
or you get a leave of absence for a few months. Not too many people, I think, who would be interested in this job are going to take the chance of accepting an appointment. I think.
And I think with all the turmoil that's been surrounding this since the get-go, I'm not sure you're going to get very many people to throw their hat in the ring to take the position
Yes.
when it starts anyhow.
There are a couple of people who apparently are ready to throw their hats in the ring.
Oh, there are some
There
hat
are.
throwers.
There are. I heard a couple names yesterday.
The only thing is, they're probably not of the political party that's in power right now, or they are.
Well, one is, one isn't, and then the endorsements are going both ways. It's confusing.
Yeah.
I would take the position right now if till November.
Yeah. Why not?
I finished my book. I'm not doing much of anything these days. I think I got a couple weeks vacation coming up, but
Yeah.
After the 1st of July, I'd take the position for. After all, I spent most of my term as corporation counsel trying to explain to the controllers what their job was, what they were doing wrong, what they should be doing right.
Much like Jerry's been doing for the last
Yeah.
year or so.
There's so many things that they've consistently done wrong. One of them we discovered in the course of remember the TP investigation.
Yes.
When the city had this pass-through loan that was used to rehabilitate the old TP restaurant, and the loan defaulted and the city was responsible, and it looked like the city might have to pay back the federal government because the oversight we were supposed to provide wasn't there. Well, as it turned out, none of that ever went through the Common Council auditing procedure, which is absolutely wrong. And it turned out that the controller's office was routinely not sending certain things through the audit.
And the city,
professional services were not going through the audit when you hired attorneys, etc., or accountants. Anything that went through urban renewal, which is now a city agency and not an independent body, that was never went through the Common Council.
Nothing.
There was no oversight as to who's watching that fund.
And the city was very fortunate that we brought this case.
Yeah.
Because if we didn't,
we were screwed.
the city would have been stuck for on how many millions of dollars?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Because there was no paperwork.
Right.
And if we didn't bring the suit, if we
Right.
didn't bring, I don't know.
The investigation.
The investigation,
Yeah.
the papers never would have showed up because
Yeah.
nobody had them
Yeah.
until we started the investigation.
Right.
All of a sudden, they started to show up,
Thank God.
and we didn't have to.
Because they might not have existed at that point. I mean, by that time, some of the records had been abandoned in the place. The place had been broken into.
Yeah.
I don't know how many times. Stuff stolen, and so that's one of the things. And then this shuffling stuff between funds at the whim of the controller. That's all wrong. That's all has to be done by Common Council resolution. Keeping the
Do you think
unallocated fund balance, all wrong. It's got to be allocated.
You think an appointed controller, appointed by the mayor or under
by the council,
under the mayor's
oh,
auspices, they would do things right? Or would
but
they,
no, of
they
course
would
not.
They would do what she wanted
right,
them to do.
of course,
That's why it should not be appointed.
right.
They're accountable to the.
And I think there was wasn't there a provision in there that the person serves at the pleasure of the mayor on top of that? Somebody told me that. I think there was. Well, regardless.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, there
Which
was.
is contradictory to it being for a 6-year term. But,
That's just another thing. What's the difference, right?
you serve for 6 years until I get rid of you, or until I get rid of you, whichever comes first.
Until Jerry makes a decision.
Yeah. Yeah, so you get a 6-year. Yeah, think about this. You get a 6-year term. The mayor changes at year 4, and it says, "Okay, you serve at my pleasure. Get out." So what is it? So what does a 6-year term mean?
And the guy says, no, I'm not going because I got another 2 years.
And then we have another lawsuit.
Yeah.
Ay, ay, ay. So anyway, there we are. So my friends on the Common Council.
Get on the stick.
That you can count on.
Well, I guess I could count them on both hands if the hands were empty.
Well,
All right.
we'll see.
After the 1st of July, I'm willing to take the position. You know, I may need an occasional afternoon off to jump in the pool, but
Okay.
then I expect to work a few evenings in the process.
Gee, I could.
It balances out.
My business is almost.
You could do the job.
Mine is almost nothing. I got one order this past week, so
You got run over?
no, one order.
Oh, one order. I thought you said you got run over.
I got one order this past week, so that's not going to be too difficult to take care of. So
Oh.
maybe we go in partners.
Well, we
You can
we
do the odd
can.
days, you can do the even
Yes,
days.
that's
Hey,
right.
how
Point
about-
both of us.
There you go.
Gavin, you doing anything? Well, you're working though. You got a real job. Yeah.
I could come in and see, but he'd have to work more often if he had the odd numbers, because you go from the 31st to the 1st, that's 2 days in a row you have to work, so we could.
Oh, yeah. You take the odd. You take the odd days. Twice. That happens twice this summer.
Several times,
Yeah.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
tough.
Yeah.
And that's,
And again in October. Ah.
yeah. See?
Hey. It's like alternate street parking.
Yeah. Yeah, what are you doing? You only have.
That's right. We'll switch at 6 o'clock every evening, right? Saturday, I was at the West End Story event.
How was that, Bob?
It was nice. It was hot, of course. It was a real hot day
Yeah.
Saturday, and the bus that we were on, the air conditioning broke down, and they replaced the bus. So we got on the replacement bus, and about the only. Yeah, there was a little air conditioning up front where the driver was, but then there was a fan blowing loudly in back of us. But that was about it. There was no air conditioning on that bus either. So it was mostly kept indoors. We talked about this already, didn't we? Didn't we talk about this Tuesday?
Briefly.
No,
Yeah.
we didn't get the full flavor though, 'cause we didn't.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
that's
How
true.
was the crowd? How was the turnout for it?
It seemed good. It was going pretty steady. I left after I sold my last book. Where Do We Find Such Men? Currently available at the Book Hound on Main Street and at Old Peddler's Wagon at the Five Corners. And of course, you can get it at Amazon.com, which gives me the best rate of all the online places you can buy it. And it won't cost you anymore. In fact, they're discounting it to $16.10 or something, as opposed to the list price of $18.95, which is what you'll mostly pay. But then you don't have to pay shipping if you get it around here. So, so it works out.
Well, I've talked to some people about your book over the week, and they're very impressed with it. They really loved it.
And this was not ghost written. It was written by you
It
in
was
the flesh,
yeah.
right?
What?
It wasn't ghost written. It was written actually by you.
By me and several other people whose stuff I stole, including your
No,
grandfather's.
no,
but, and your
that's
aunt's.
permissible. That's
That,
permissible.
yeah, that's. I guess so. You gave me permission.
But it was.
And these people also went on the tour, the historic tour.
Oh yeah,
And they were very impressed with that also.
that was fun. It was a good thing. I'm glad there are people who like to read in this town and like good stories. That's a good story. I was on with Cudmore yesterday.
I missed
Bob
that.
Cudmore.
I didn't see that on Facebook.
That was nice. He kept me on for the full hour.
Oh, we did.
Oh, I didn't know.
Yeah,
I didn't know you were
yeah.
again.
Oh.
He did that last time too. And he says, "Well, we'll be on till 9:30, see how it goes." And
It was going good.
well, we just kept on
Did you
going.
take phone calls?
There weren't any. He offered to take phone calls, but
Nobody called.
yeah. I'm sure we'll be getting phone calls like, the ones I'm getting at home. How come Uncle So and So is not in that book? Although I got Mickey LaCoppola said that both of his next door neighbors are in my book. I don't know where he lives or who his neighbors are, but that was pretty neat.
Yeah.
That was pretty neat.
Yeah,
I guess there's still a few of them out there. I saw, Bill Herside came down when I did the signing at the Book Hound,
Oh, yeah?
and I said, Bill, you're in this book. He bought one, maybe two. He might have bought two of them, and yeah. It's a picture of the soccer team. And underneath is a caption that says, "Missing from the picture is Bill Hersey."
His name's there, he's not there.
I said, "See, you're in my book. You're not there."
You can Photoshop it in there, that's all.
Oh, Lord, how many stories I don't know, you know, that never made the papers.
Yeah.
You know, the stuff made the papers because people would come down with the letters they got from the guy in the service. And I think there may have been people who were killed that didn't even make in the paper because nobody told the newspaper.
Yeah, could have done.
So, yeah.
They had a thing on Military Channel last night. Well, I had a couple of things. They had D-Day in color, which was interesting to watch. And then they had Tom Brokaw did his Greatest Generation.
Oh, I missed that.
Last night.
I missed that. I did watch a bit of the. They were on the H2. They were running the World War II HD series again.
Oh yeah.
And that was kind of fun to watch after I've written the book, because now you know, when I saw it, I knew most of this stuff already, but now I know in detail all of it, and I also know what they're leaving out. But there is, I believe, a guy from Amsterdam in that footage from Saipan.
Really?
And that was what was his name? Morris Brown, I think. He's also in your grandfather's newsletter. I think he must have been a social member of the club. He believe he was in the Marines, and he got a Bronze Star for his work. But he was the talking Jeep. They had this Jeep with this giant speaker, and he spoke Japanese. And he would get on the speaker, and he was urging these people, please don't jump off the cliff, and please don't kill your children. We do intend to feed you, and all that stuff.
He was the antithesis of Tokyo Rose.
And yeah, I guess. So, yeah, you know, there were some newspaper articles about him at the time. They did that at the end of the Saipan episode, and it is just so chilling. I mean, they've actually got footage of the bodies at the foot of the cliff, but they also have footage of a woman jumping off the cliff, and they do it in slow motion. Oh my God! And Robert Sherrod, who I don't much care for after what he said about the 27th Division, nevertheless was a pretty good writer, and the horror of it was just overwhelming him. What do we do? Are we going to have to kill every last one of them to win this war? And that's what it looked like after Saipan and Tarawa. Wow. But they.
I was going back a little bit further, but Memorial Day weekend, I was sad that there wasn't more on. It was. I was
shocked that there wasn't more on.
Shallow. You know, they had a couple things here, but that was it. There wasn't much. They had more on yesterday for Flag Day than
D-Day.
D-Day. Well, yeah, Flag Day.
Flag Day's coming up.
They did for Memorial Day, because I can remember, probably a dozen years ago that and it'd be wall to wall. The movie channels would be wall to wall World War II movies,
usually, or war movies on Memorial Day. This time it was like nothing. I said, "Well, I'm going to have a lot to watch," and I didn't. I ended up shutting off the TV and going out and doing something.
Still run American Pickers, and
people are forgetting. The president didn't even acknowledge D-Day yesterday.
And
if he even knows what it is. He went one year, didn't he? Didn't he go for the...
Yeah, he went for the anniversary.
One of the anniversaries.
Yeah,
65th, maybe.
Yeah.
It's hard to believe, Reagan was there at the 40th, it's already 69. Holy mackerel.
Yeah. It's going, and there's...
And they're still showing up. There's still guys showing up.
Yeah, there are.
But I think, like...
They said there's 600 a day passing away.
Yeah, and it's the number's probably going down because there are so few of them left to die. By the 75th will probably be the last time they all gather in Normandy.
Yeah, that'd make them 93.
Yeah.
Ballpark.
That's about what happened during the Civil War. Remembrances.
Yeah.
Early in World War II, they announced that the last
Civil War.
the last gathering of the Civil War. Yeah, I think only 4 of them showed up or something, so that was going to be the last one.
And a widow was the last one that had a connection with it, I think.
What's that?
There was a widow who was...
Oh, recently, died recently,
Yeah.
yeah. Of course, she was, 16 and her husband was 85 or something, but yeah, the last direct connection.
Yeah.
But, a stunning news to me the other day, I forgot to mention it on the radio show, it must have been the day before. There is only one person in the world born in the 19th century. Isn't that amazing?
There's only one left?
In the world.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it was in the paper.
Yeah.
A picture of the
Now,
lady.
Gosh, we knew lots of people born in the 19th century.
Yeah.
Jim was almost born in the 19th
close.
century. That's close.
Yeah.
And yet there's only one person left in the world. And I remember just
But that's a big
3 or 4 years ago, somebody, one of the oldest person in the world died. And as I say, 3, 4, maybe 5 years ago, and I realized that if my grandfather had lived, he would then be the oldest person in the world.
Yeah.
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 Of course, he died at 41, but
He had.
but still, if he had been alive, he would have been the only person in the world older than him died, and then it would have been him.
So,
And yet, I mean, I talked to people who were born when Benjamin Harrison was president, and had nice long conversations with them.
yeah.
Grover Cleveland. Yeah. Old Jim McKinney, who owned this house, built this house. He was born, I think, when Harrison was president. He used to refer to Hugh Donlin as that Donlin kid. Honest to God. I'm trying to think. That was I was in law school when his wife died, so that was probably about 77. She died, and that's when, and he was 92 at the time. So what, 1885, something like that. He was born.
So,
Yeah.
I hope we get that far.
Yeah.
That was
Wow.
that was around the time my father was born too. 1880s.
Wow. And yet there's only one left. It means we're getting old, guys.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Ah.
Ooh.
Yeah, everybody who's running for office this year is a child of somebody I taught in school or something. Or
Yeah. Oh, I got there's.
I mean, Gina was only like 2 years older than Nana. She was. They were in school. They were in the drama club together.
There's kids in Misha's class who I taught their parents.
Oh,
He's
sure.
Great.
Yeah.
I had them their parents in class, and now their kids in the same class as mine.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Well,
Well, it's different
I
reasons.
mean, you were kind of up there when Misha was born.
I was mature.
Yeah.
I was mature.
Not Strom Thurmond,
No,
mature,
no.
but
I appreciate that.
Strom Thurmond. God, I saw him speak one time. It was 77. I think. Yeah, it was 1977, and his wife couldn't come to the dinner because one of the kids was sick.
Mm-hmm.
So he brought his mother-in-law as his escort instead. And of course, his mother-in-law was young enough to be his daughter.
Yeah.
And I like to introduce my mother-in-law. She stands up and everybody's kind of chuckling under the table.
Lucky Strong.
Wow.
Yeah.
Jeepers. Well, Al D'Amato's still having kids, isn't he? Isn't he got some in grade school?
I think he does.
I think so.
Yeah.
And he's getting up there. I met him at the Republican National Convention for the first time, I believe, and he was running against Jacob Javits in the primary. So in the New York delegation, he was kind of shunned by the leadership because, among other things, Javits was in the delegation. And so he hung around with us guys because we were rebels, and I've still got the D'Amato pin he gave me at that point. So yeah, we hung around for the 4 days of the convention, and he had a good memory. he remembered me by name a couple of years later and asked how Mary was. So that's
Oh.
yeah.
Just paying attention.
And another time he said, and how's Tommy doing? I'm thinking, who the heck is he talking about? Who's Tommy? Then I remember one of our other delegates was Bill Johns, and he was thinking Tommy Johns.
This guy had
So he was close.
Yeah.
He was close.
Yeah.
He was close. Speaking of baseball, the Mohawks are off to a slow start.
Yeah.
Oh my God!
Yeah, they got one inning in, didn't they?
Well, they got one inning in last night and the night before. I don't know how many they got in, but the power went out.
They tied that game and got rained out. They certainly are going to get rained out.
I don't know what they were thinking of.
Playing a
Yes.
doubleheader Saturday,
Yeah.
so they got a shot. They're making that game up Saturday, so maybe they'll.
Supposed to rain again. Supposed to rain again tomorrow, isn't it?
Tomorrow's Saturday.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Supposed to be.
Or today, depending on when you're watching this.
Or which side of the date line you're on. I mean, you could be watching this on the other side of the date line. It would be tomorrow.
That's right.
already.
It'd be
Could be tomorrow already.
yesterday.
I had to put a footnote in my book about that. I
I
don't know if
saw
you
that
noticed
about
that,
the time.
because it really got confusing to me after a while.
But
Because
that was good that you put that in.
yeah, you know, we think the atomic bomb was dropped on August 6th, and the Japanese think it was dropped on August 7th, for example.
Who would know better?
Yeah.
Yeah. But that was good. You put out. Oh, that's right. So you got that funny thing out there.
I really like this book. I got turned down by an agent yesterday. Though he enjoyed the book, he just didn't think he could place it. So
We couldn't place it.
he said you'll do fine doing it the way you're doing. Also got some ads running on Facebook. I don't know if they've popped up for you yet or not, but I've got it narrowed down to this area, so it'll keep popping up unless you click on it. It doesn't cost me anything. So don't
click on
if you're going to click on it, buy the damn book. Because I lose 60 cents every day.
But,
I should shut up because people are just going to click on it. All right, we're going to cut this part out.
but you know, though it is a niche book, it's not a niche book.
I know.
Because
I need Hollywood to notice this book is what I need.
for a history, you know, as a history book, it's great. But it has that additional niche in there with the local flavor.
Yeah.
It's the
You know,
local.
if you want to read about World War II, you've got just about every piece of action in there.
Because they were there.
They were there.
You know, one of the big things I don't have is Midway. And I know there were guys here, must have been at Midway, because there were guys on the destroyers escorting the carriers. Quite a few of them, actually. And yet, you know, when Midway happened, the censorship was on, so nobody was allowed to say where they were or what they were doing, and then the war ends and everybody forgets about it.
Right.
So, you know, I think I suspect Alex Fabosi's father was probably there because he was in the destroyer escorts of destroyers escorting the carriers.
Yeah.
It was so nice to learn so much about the detail because so much of it is forgotten, and it was really brutal stuff. I like that guy called the show the other day talking about Steve Rutkowski and telling the anecdote about were you in the infantry? I don't want to talk to you. Unless you were in the infantry, you don't want to talk to you. You're not a veteran.
That's right.
But you know, Cudmore asked me yesterday, or he was commenting that they didn't know much about post-traumatic stress disorder, and those actually. That's a common misconception. They really did. They knew all about it. They just didn't know what to do about it. They had actually done studies, primarily based, I think, on that Italian campaign, which went on endlessly for like 6 months, and they were actually able to say statistically how many days a man could be on the front before he'd break. And the point was, eventually everybody breaks. on the front, and they said 150 days, I think, or 160, whatever it was, but that was the average. If you're on the front for 160 days, you're going to break. So get them out. And yet they did not do that in the Italian campaign. Those guys just stayed there and slugged it out. The same with the Marines on Okinawa. They just something like 50, 55 days straight on the front lines.
And then too, yeah, they knew a lot about it, but the guys didn't, and the guys just kept their mouths shut. And
Yeah.
it was because
nobody
thought it was only them that had it.
Yeah.
And I think historically, when you look at it, there was a lot more recognition in some ways about that from the guys that came back from World War I, from being in the trenches.
Yeah.
They often talk about he's shell shocked.
Right.
Right. I didn't hear it as much about the guys from World War II, though probably a whole lot more of them actually were.
Well, I point out in the book the statistics I stole from somewhere else that the psychoneurotic cases in Okinawa almost matched the number of wounded. I mean, we're talking tens of thousands of people cracking, for want of a better term, but that's exactly what it was. And I mean, some cracked worse than others, but
well, what could you expect? They were kids,
absolutely they were. And the things that they saw and had to endure, perpetually seeing next to them as they slugged along.
And that's why we still have the debate about torture, because they know that torture works. Eventually, everybody breaks. It may not be today, it may not be tomorrow, it may not be a month from now, but eventually they break. Everybody breaks. You ever see that wonderful episode of Star Trek: The Next Generation, where Picard is undergoing psychological torture, and is the light on or off? And then of course the light is off, and he says it's off. No, it's on, and eventually they rescue him. They do rescue him, and he confesses to the counselor, "I saw the light on." Even though he knew it was off, he saw it on.
I've never seen Star Trek Second Generation.
Really?
No.
Yeah.
No.
Next Generation.
I never saw that.
Never saw it.
Saw some of the first ones. That was a big deal in college when we were there. Everybody was back in the dorms watching Star Trek. But
our movie of the week this week was the Star Trek from a couple of years ago, where they all meet at the Academy. The young Kirk and the young Spock. The sequel is out right now, so they put this available on Redbox. It's quite good. It's really, really clever in 1,000 different ways, and it also is really clever from a Hollywood point of view because there's a time disruption. Somebody comes back from the future and disrupts the space-time continuum, so that everything we know of the Star Trek history can now be thrown out the window. And the Klingons can go one way, and the Romulans can go another, and in fact Vulcan is destroyed, and all the, so they change the complete timeline so they can start the whole series over and do whatever they want with it. That's really clever.
Clever writing.
That's good rebooting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although they say the new movie's not quite so good. What else did we saw? What the heck was the name of the picture? We went down to the Spectrum. Another one that Jamie worked on. Oh boy, it's got a clever title. It's about a hitman, Iceman, I think, or something like that. Because the guy's got veins.
Ice in his veins.
Yeah, ice in his veins, really. And it's a true story. It's and it's based on interviews with this serial hitman who apparently killed like 100 people in the course of his career. But it is so well performed. The movie is gripping from end to end. I mean, in a creepy kind of way. I mean, you're just sucked right in and watching this in you know, I mean, he's the hero of the anti-hero, whatever. But you know, the first time you see him just blow somebody away for no good reason, just so they'll see if he will do it. Mm-hmm. You realize that you're dealing with a really strange guy, and there's just little hints of, you know, the beatings he took as a kid and stuff like that that made him that. But you know, just enough to give you a flavor for it. But he lives a completely normal life on the surface. You know, suburban. His wife thinks he's got a white collar job where he makes money betting on currencies and things like that, and kids go to parochial school, and the flip flop. It is just so. I hope I got the title. That's not the title, I don't think. Maybe it is. But Jamie just had a short little bit toward the beginning of the movie. But I enjoyed the movie. I recommend it. But boy, don't go in there expecting a lot of yucks. But it is so well done. And it's, you know, to know that there are people like that out there and what made them that way.
One of the films I did run a couple times for Memorial Day weekend was Taking Chance. If you've ever seen that.
No. Never even heard of it.
Taking Chance. It's about bringing a dead vet home from Afghanistan. The officer takes him across country and all the interactions he runs into. It's very, very powerful movie.
So he's escorting the body?
Yeah, he's escorting. It's about the guy escorting. Of course, I can't remember the name of the guy who's the star of it. But it was really good. You can see it's called Taking Chance. Joe and Gleese. You know Joe and Gleese?
No.
He used to teach at McNally. His daughter is in the Marine Corps, and she's a photographer, and she was momentarily in it. But it's real powerful movie. How the remains are treated and how people were reacting as they brought them across country. And you got to watch it to see it. Taking Chance.
There was a time in the 70s when I missed all the big movies, and maybe it was Memorial Day weekend, I forget, but I watched Apocalypse Now for the first time.
Yeah.
And I didn't stay awake through the whole thing because it is a long movie. I kind of fell asleep when Marlon Brando came on, but.
They've redone that.
Huh?
They've redone it.
Well,
Apocalypse redo.
It was the Redux version that I was watching. I don't know what. Obviously,
sure was because
they must have added some stuff to it.
Did.
But obviously, I'm still watching Martin Sheen and young Robert Duvall and all that.
Yeah.
Coppola did that, right? Francis Ford Coppola, and not between. Was it between his Godfather movies, or it's around the same time? In any event, I remember it cost them a fortune because they had the typhoon hit the Philippines while they were filming it or something.
And Brando cost them a couple bucks too.
Yeah, but what performances and those Vietnam battle scenes were spectacular. You know, the cavalry and the helicopters, and
napalm in the morning.
And napalm in the morning. I mean, that's probably one of the most famous scenes ever.
Yeah.
But the whole the playing Wagner, I always thought that was just that it was just a soundtrack as they're doing it, but it's not. He's actually blasting this as they're going in, like the bagpipes.
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't know where the movie was going or how good it was in the end, but it had a pretty damn good first half, I'll tell you.
Yeah, the second half kind of gets.
Well, once Brando comes, well, up to that point, it's realistic. I think.
Yeah.
I think the whole this whole subplot about Brando is a little bizarre,
And he's very bizarre at the end.
And he's a very bizarre guy.
But it was.
I've never seen The Deer Hunter. Never saw Platoon.
That was.
So I got a lot of catching up to do, I guess.
Yeah.
Platoon. I didn't see Platoon.
That was on back-to-back, I think, with, of course, it was Sheen and Sheen. It was young Martin Sheen and young Charlie Sheen. I didn't think Martin Sheen was ever that young. He really looked like a kid in that picture. It wasn't that long ago.
No.
Let's see. No, De Niro wasn't in that one, was he? Duvall was just amazing. What an actor.
You know, he's
And he's not on the scene that long. You know, you think of him
Yeah.
as being that he is the movie, and he's not on camera all that much.
and Duvall also makes a great cowboy when he's in the westerns.
Oh, his
Yeah.
Lonesome Dove was out of this world.
Yeah.
Out of this world.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I watched him the other night on Broken Trail.
He's a guy who should be. You know, there's a few guys who should be in these certain types of movies. And he's one
He
of
should
them.
be in every movie, like Morgan Freeman is in every movie. That guy never stops working.
No.
I mean, he is on the screen constantly.
And he's got that. He's re-upped the series Through the Wormhole.
That series is so good. And it seems they never run out of topics, and they're all so intelligently done.
Yeah, they are.
It is absolutely spectacular as far as because they'll give you the latest theories on everything and explain it to you in English. And,
Yeah, pretty much in English.
and it's it's stuff that's blowing your mind, and what makes us what we
I've
are.
never seen that show.
What's it on, Discovery Channel or Science
Yeah.
Channel or one of those?
Oh, yeah, I think it's a Science Channel. And when he talks, he's so well spoken.
Yeah.
He's so
Yeah.
intelligent, and
I saw one he did a couple of weeks ago on what is race, and I said, "Boy, this is going to be a touchy topic," and it was brilliantly done,
Yeah, it was.
end to end, end to end.
yeah.
It wasn't political in any way. It was just trying to understand what makes us different from each other, if at all. You know.
Right, and more stuff comes out the same than different.
Yeah. But it was scientific. It is.
Yes.
This is what we've learned. This is what we know. This is what we're speculating. And geez, and these, the whole wormhole thing and quantum physics. And I wonder if he understands any of this stuff he's saying. Do you think?
Yeah, I think he does, because he's not just on it, because I think he's the executive producer or something on it too. I mean, he's really involved in the whole process, and it's amazing when they show some of the stellar formations in space when they just show, and of course it's all digitalized, it's all colorized because there's no color in space. It's just beautiful. And it just, it's like, wow.
You've seen the thing on the internet, The Best Way to Die, and it's a picture of Clint Eastwood and Morgan Freeman, and the best way to die, getting shot by Clint Eastwood while Morgan Freeman narrates.
Oh, I heard that. Funny.
Anyway, that's about it for the first hour. We'll come back. We'll come back through the wormhole in the second hour shortly, and we're going to discuss the latest developments in Washington and who's listening to your phone, among other things. Okay, I'm Bob Going with Jim DeKosha and Gavin Murdoch. Wave, guys, and we'll be back shortly with more of the show with no name.